Hello everyone, I hope that you're all doing well today. It is Apex here with another video. Today I will be doing a market sector analysis and watch list update covering 5 tickers that I think have some real potential to see some growth in the coming weeks and months. Before I get started, I will begin by saying none of what you hear or see today is financial advice. It is simply my personal trading plan. You should always do your own research and never follow anyone blindly. So beginning here with SPY. Obviously, they last week had some consolidative action to it. We can see price ranging in a bit of a bull flag potential here. That resulted in a lot of the momentum name stocks to dip. I know a lot of people that I follow, including myself, had their portfolios look quite red, but nonetheless, I'm not too worried about any of that. I think it was very constructive, and I made a tweet the other day saying that a lot of stocks look very bullish right now, and that's a testament to the entire market. I see stocks in every sector that are setting up excellently. I wish I had more capital to invest in some of these stocks because they have some great looks to it. So overall, I'm optimistic that we'll see more continuation as we move forward here and as SPY holds some critical levels. So overall, we have been watching SPY in this channel, saw a little bit of a topping action as we approach the upper trend line, but like I said, appear to be making a bit of a bull flag here. So there is a potential for upside, potentially testing that 400 psychological level. We have skirted away from the 395 psychological level, so we have about 5 points, 6 points to get up to break that, or to at least test that ultimate 400 psychological level. Right now in the low 390s, but still holding that critical 387.50 pivot low. Bulls need to break that 394.17 to see that continuation to 400 psychological. But overall looks very good. On the hourly chart, the bulls are looking to make a higher low, so we had this gap down. Bulls bought that dip, looking for a higher low and then a break of the interim pivot high up here to change that hourly trend and ultimately set the bulls on course for 400 psychological. And like I said, everything looks pretty good. We do see some increasing volume to the end of the session. One of those candles is actually a green print, the other obviously red. That's not too concerning for me right now. Like I said, we're still holding this bull flag pattern. So if we break that 387.50, then we'll look for a higher low compared to 368.27, probably around this lower part of the channel. And then we'll hopefully see a bounce from there. The dollar looks to be rolling over here, so this is exactly what the bulls wanted to see. Now we are looking at a potential daily head and shoulders pattern here on the dollar. So this is exactly what the asset bulls want to see. We want to see this weakness in the dollar so that more money obviously stays with the assets. So we had an impulse wave to the upside, basically a 100% retracement back down to the pivot low, a weak bounce, and now it appears that we are rolling back over. So hopefully the bears can take over this chart and this head and shoulders pattern can come to fruition. On the hourly chart, you see we are basically making just a lower high here. It could be a potential dead cat bounce if we use a fib retracement. So a little bit higher than a dead cat bounce to the 0.5. Hopefully we can see that rotate or that continuation to the downside as I mentioned, but overall looking pretty weak here. Ultimately the bulls need to, well, the bears need to break 90.1 essentially, and the bulls need to break 91.6. So keep an eye on those two levels for directional confluence in the asset markets. QQQ, not exactly similar to SPY, but has been following quite similarly. We have this impulse wave to the upside, brief little pullback here, so I will be looking for more continuation. Ultimately, the bulls need to break 338.19 and defend 328.36. But they look poised to do so. Everything's constructive here. I don't see any red flags. RSI is cooling off, which is nice in the mid upper 50s, so hopefully we can see more continuation from there. On the hourly chart, this is where it looks a lot more similar to SPY. We have the gap down open, bulls bought the dip, now the bulls are looking for a higher low. A bit of a deep pullback here, but I do think we can break that interim pivot high. We have a big volume shelf acting as support here, so once we break and get over this volume shelf, it'll only act as a springboard until it doesn't. But hopefully for the meantime, it will act as a springboard once we get over it. So looking for this pivot high to break, change that hourly trend, confirm the daily bounce, and then we can see continuation to the upside. IWM, this is looking the strongest out of the 3 major sectors in my opinion. Strong impulse wave to the upside, brief little pullback, and already we are seeing continuation higher with increasing bull volume, so that's all very good, all very fine and dandy. So ultimately the bulls need to defend 219.39 and need to break 230.32, but they look poised to do so. RSI had some time to cool off, and looking for more continuation from here. On the hourly chart, this is where it gets pretty beautiful. We had the gap down open that the bulls bought, a little bit of an hourly higher low, and then continuation higher. Now we're making a beautiful hourly bull flag with increasing volume coming in the last hour of the day. So a lot of factors lining up for the bulls, and obviously the hourly RSI is mid-range here, so tons of room for more continuation to the upside. IWM definitely looking the strongest. So with that being said, all the markets are situated in a good position for bullishness into next week. So the 5 stocks that I'll be looking over today: IRBT, JMIA, X1, IPO, and W. A lot of great names on this list. Even last week's watch list, a lot of names are still setting up. So Sava is one of them. That looks incredible. Great rounding pattern that we are getting here at the golden pocket level. SFIX looks incredible. Palantir, all I'm looking for is a higher low compared to the pivot low set on the February 18th. And then we'll hopefully see more continuation. So a lot of stocks setting up very well. These are just 5 that I decided to focus on. I think these have the best technical setups as well as a fundamental aspect. There's a lot of great technical aspects, a lot of great technical setups, but some sketchy fundamentals on a couple stocks. OCGN, it's one of those companies, I've been tweeting about it, it looks beautiful, but the fundamentals are quite uncertain. It's one of those stocks that still doesn't have any revenue. It has like a $1.8 billion valuation, but no revenue. So it's a little bit sketchy. I don't want to play with those, even though it looks great to me from a technical perspective. So we'll stick to the names that have both the fundamental and technical aspect to them. So iRobot is the first one. So looking at the fundamentals. Okay, so what does iRobot do? Well, these are the autonomous home vacuum cleaners that you see all the time. So I didn't piece it together, obviously, as soon as I started researching the company. But this is an incredible tech company. I know a lot of people that use this product. Helps around the home, especially with busy parents, middle class, definitely using this type of product. So they have a lot of demand, and they had a very bullish upgrade. So I believe it was JP Morgan gave us an upgrade to 166. So currently trading at 125. And so a lot of, just a good good fundamentals here. So following the upgrade, the current consensus from iRobot 6 analysts is for revenues of up to 1.6 billion in 2021, which if met would reflect a notable 15% increase on sales over the past 12 months. So a lot of good anticipation, a lot of good forecasting for this company. They've just released earnings on the 10th of February. Nice 48.53% surprise. So love to see that. A lot of bullishness, long time before earnings. So this move is just about to finish digesting, and then we can continue up. So looking at the technicals now, so obviously great fundamentals on the company overall. Looking at the technicals, awesome bull volume. All I see here is accumulation volume, although there are some upper wicks. That doesn't concern me so much, considering we are consolidating very constructively here. So we had a brief pullback, actually a pretty substantial pullback, not gonna lie. That's a decent pullback, but we defended that 782 very well with a beautiful hammer candle. We bounced lower high, and now we are trying to make a higher low at the golden pocket. Price broke on Friday, broke Thursday's high, so that's a potential confirmation that the daily bounce has been set, and then from here we'll just see continuation to targets. Looking at the hourly chart, that's the most definitive. That's the most definitive technical play in order to distinguish whether or not a daily bounce has ensued. So we're looking for that hourly trend change. So we have an impulse here. You could call this a brief pullback, although it's not great. It is brief. Made an hourly bull flag and then broke it. So it's arguable that the hourly trend has been changed, thus the daily bounce has been set. I do like playing on both, so ideally you'll see that the high of the previous day break when the hourly trend does change. Now we don't have a definitive hourly trend change. It kind of depends how bullish you are in the stock, but obviously a lot of great fundamentals leads me to believe that the bounce is in, or if not, it's just going to consolidate for a little bit more. Something I don't like to see is that we have declining volume on this bounce over the last couple days, but given the fact that there's so much bull volume at these areas, at this level, essentially, I'm very confident that we could see more continuation to the upside. So looking for targets here, 79.50, trying to front run that 180 psychological level, targeting the 782 here. That's a pretty substantial move in and of itself. Another more conservative target would be the golden pocket, so you're looking at around 165, which puts you on target for the analyst upgrade, 166 target, so JP Morgan targeting this golden pocket here. So there will obviously be some profit taking around there, but I do really think that once the stock can get going, it will see considerable upside. I don't believe, I thought these guys had, I could be getting confused with another stock. Obviously do your own research here, but I'm pretty sure they had a high short float too. So might see a potential squeeze happening here, but overall the stock looks very, very good. So JMIA, this is another excellent stock. I absolutely love this ticker. I've traded it many times. So what does JMIA do? It's an online marketplace for electronics and fashion, among others, targeting several African countries. Like I always said, it's like the Amazon of Africa, right? They new company, pretty much trying to do the exact same thing, servicing a lagging economy. So there's a whole lot of growth potential in Africa, and investors are very, very enthusiastic. Obviously, you can see that reflected in how much bull volume has been accumulated over the last several months throughout this entire price structure. And it doesn't look like it's cooling down. So we have this consolidative topping pattern here, but declining volume. I guess a lot of people are just waiting for earnings, trying to get some outlook as to where we are. So that's the technical aspect from a volume perspective, but I'll break down the Fibonacci levels right now. So looking at the previous impulse wave up, so taking a Fibonacci retracement tool from this pivot low to the 49 pivot high, we can see that price actually bounced right off the golden pocket before and saw this considerable run up. So this is the last time that price has interacted with the 618 area, and like I said, investors bought that up immediately. So I'm anticipating something similar here. I don't see any volume signs or any candle signs that tell me that the bears are in control or bulls are losing control. All I see is high bull volume throughout this entire price structure and a second pullback to the area in which the last bounce begun. So I really like how these technical aspects are lining up, and as well, this is such a good fundamental company. Unless there's a bad earnings reaction, I do anticipate we'll get a bounce. But that being said, I am waiting for earnings. Always wait for earnings. That's just my outlook on it. I never want to jump in beforehand. Earnings reactions are so unpredictable. So it's always best, in my opinion, just to wait and see how investors digest those earnings releases. So with that being said, I do anticipate this to probably chop around a little bit. Their earnings are February 24th, or at least that's when they're anticipated. So we'll see if they release then, and obviously look for a play if the investors like what they see. But if we do enter this stock, I am looking for a price target of 74.29, front running this 75 psychological level and this negative 236. And ultimately I have a target of 618 right around 87.22, front running that $90 level a little bit. This last impulse wave to the upside actually broke past the 618 level. Let me just turn on these guys here. So it broke through the first target considerably, touched the 618, broke through a little bit, and then started pulling back. So like I said, I'm anticipating a bounce at this golden pocket level, and then those are the targets. And then the stop, I forgot to mention it with the iRobot. I will do that after JMIA. Stop is right below this previous pivot structure, well below the 782. If we retrace that much, that will be notable. So again, waiting for earnings, and stop on iRobot here, just below the last pivot low and underneath the $100 psychological level. So moving on to X1. So X1, it's a 3D printing company, and it is, I don't know why ARK's website, I guess they're just down, it isn't loading, but it is one of ARK's top tickers in their index print fund. So you can look at that on your own time, but it is one of the main stocks that ARK is investing in. And they also just confirmed a defense contract with U.S. Defense Department. So they're looking for X1 developing portable 3D printing factory and shipping container for Department of Defense. So getting another government contract, this company has had several over the last year. They've had several government contracts, and also getting another one here is very bullish in my opinion. So a lot of good fundamental aspects for this company. They're definitely one that has a lot of application, is being utilized in a big way, and government defense contracts are quite sizable. So the company is set to post good earnings in the upcoming quarter. But I do like what I see here. So we have a strong run up on very high bull volume. You can see a lot of accumulation volume taking place. We do have this very large red node here, but I do believe that based off the fundamentals of the company, we will get a little bit of a bounce here, or quite a substantial bounce. So like I said, we have the strong run up and a nice pullback right to the golden pocket. We are seeing an immediate price reaction to that level with a strong Friday volume performance. Now, although there's a big upper wick, that doesn't necessarily concern me. I do like what I see with the volume here, and so if we can get maybe a little bit of a pullback, we'll likely see continuation to the upside. Earnings is a little bit away, not till mid-March, so there's a couple of plays that could transpire from here. The first is that price might retest the golden pocket or just continue to the upside, but I am only anticipating a lower high. So I do have my first target at the 782 rate at 62.33, but we might only bounce to the golden pocket right around the 57 to 60 range, and that is just based off the Fibonacci technicals. I do see this pullback as kind of sizable. So this is one catch with this stock. I think it's going to be a longer term play into an earnings reaction. I don't think we're just going to bounce higher low and then continue up to the ultimate fib targets in the 80s without an earnings reaction. That's just my opinion. Well, we'll see what transpires here. So like I said, I think we'll bounce, we'll top out around the golden pocket, maybe get to my first target here. It's a little bit ambitious, and then we'll look to make some sort of equilibrium, and then with a good earnings reaction, we will continue on to the upside. So this is more of just a short bounce play, looking for like an intraday setup here where I could take a little bit of a risk trading to that golden pocket, but this will likely develop a little bit more, and that will confirm the bullish validity behind this stock. So as soon as it forms that equilibrium, then we'll be looking for positive earnings and a reaction to the upside. But until then, I think we're going to get a little bit of chop. But I was posting this mostly for a bounce, and just because of the news that it got confirming that defense contract or securing that defense contract, I think that it could add a little extra bullish fuel. So that's why I'm targeting the 782. Ultimately, stop is going to be below the 782 on this impulse wave to the upside, putting that below the $30 psychological level by a bit of a cushion. So if we do see more pullback from there, obviously I'll stop out. But just playing a quick bounce to the golden pocket, potentially higher, depending on how bulls react to the defense contract news into the next week. But I definitely like this company. ARK likes this company. It's never a good idea to bet against Aunt Kathy, so we will bet with her. IPO is the next stock on the docket here. So this is this is their SPAC. So this is, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Chamath. Yeah, I'm not even going to try. But I do watch a lot of his videos, a lot of his interviews. I really like his vision and who he is as an entrepreneur. He's obviously pro-millennial, pro-retail guy, so that's a more of an aspiration for me to like so much about him. But, you know, this is just such a good company overall, a good SPAC. And so essentially they bought SoFi, the merger. So there was an announcement about a SPAC merger with Social Capital, which is led by Chamath. So the merger value, SoFi, an equity value of $8.6 billion. A lot of positive notes in this article, so take a look at this. But obviously the fundamentals are quite good behind this SPAC, a lot of bullishness, and based on the technicals, I completely agree. So we have high bull volume, shows a lot of investors are interested in what Chamath can bring to the table. We have a strong impulse wave to the upside, pullback, holding that golden pocket very well. Little bounce, higher low, so we are looking for more continuation to the upside. Like I said, this is the fundamentals is based in the company. This is like betting on Tesla because you like Elon, right? So I do believe that their CEO can bring them a lot of success. I love his vision. I love where he's going with this company and just in general. Big fan of the guy, so I do have a lot of bullish anticipation for this stock in the future. Ultimately, like I said, it's nice how it's holding this golden pocket so well, trying to make a higher low compared to this previous pivot set on February 10th. So holding that 22.25 level, love to see it. So my first target here is that $30 psychological, just front running in a bit by $0.50 and front running this -236 level. Ultimately, my target, excuse me, is 34.15. So I do anticipate price to run up to that $30 psychological and then continue to 35 area, hopefully fulfilling this fib range. And putting my stop, I don't know, it was the risk to reward was a little bit skewed when I tried to bring it down below 1790. So I just put it below the $20 psychological by 60 cents. I think price should hold that $20 psychological unless something negative happens from a fundamental or news release. So like I said, I am anticipating more upside. The risk to reward is quite good with the stop at or just below $20. And so that is my outlook on IPO. Definitely one of my most favorite stocks heading into this week for sure, though. And lastly, Wayfair. So Wayfair has a beautiful technical setup going on here, awesome volume. So we have an earnings release on the 25th coming up. So that's notable, waiting for that, of course. They have a pretty decent short float, so looking for continuation because of that. But I mean, everyone knows what Wayfair does, the online retailer, home furnishing store. They had a really good earnings last time around, so I am anticipating that because most places have been in lockdown, we will see good earnings this time around. However, I'm waiting for earnings because I could see a potential play here where investors short the stock as soon as earnings are released, just based off of the fact that their outlook probably won't be as favorable. With everyone going back to work, with the world opening back up again, there is a potential that Wayfair will see less sales into the future, as you know, obviously less people are worried about how their home decor looks. So there is a potential for a negative outlook despite good earnings. So again, just waiting for that for confirmation's sake. But overall, from a technical perspective, this looks really good. So we have very high bull volume accumulation setting up here. Very strong impulse wave to the upside, pullback, held the golden pocket, bounced, made a higher low, confirmed that higher low with Friday's price action. So a lot of good technicals from here. If we break this interim pivot high, we might see a strong bull run to the first target, which is for me right around that 350 level, targeting the 782. I do really think we could get to that level just based off the volume, but that all depends on the earnings reaction. Ultimately, I have a target of 398.37. Front running that 400 psychological level and the -236 algo target. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We have a very big volume shelf here as well, which price is bouncing on. So hopefully we can see more continuation to the upside. Again, it all depends on earnings, but the last time around was very favorable, I believe. Yeah, 92% surprise. And you do see we had a bearish reaction to earnings. So that could give you a little bit of forecast as to how Wayfair is looking into next week or into this earnings release. Investors might short it, but again, we'll have to wait and see what happens. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. I will give you some more updates on other stocks that I am looking at, but if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will talk to you later.